Psalm 50. The mighty God, even the Lord, hath spoken, and called the earth from the rising of the sun unto the going down thereof. Out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God hath shined. Our God shall come, and shall not keep silence. A fire shall devour before him, and it shall be very tempestuous round about him. He shall call to the heavens from above, and to the earth, that he may judge his people. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. And the heavens shall declare his righteousness, for God is judge himself, Selah. Hear, O my people, and I will speak, O Israel. And I will testify against thee. I am God, even thy God. I will not reprove thee for thy sacrifices or thy burnt offerings, to have been continually before me. I will take no bullock out of thy house, nor he-goats out of thy folds. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountains, and the wild beasts of the field are mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell thee. For the world is mine, and the fullness thereof. Will I eat the flesh of bulls, or drink the blood of goats? Offer unto God thanksgiving, and pay thy vows unto the Most High. And call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. But unto the wicked God saith, What hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldst take my covenant in thy mouth? Seeing thou hatest instruction, and castest my words behind thee. When thou sawest a thief, and thou consentedst with him, and hast been partaker with adulterers. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such an one as thyself, but I will reprove thee, and set them in order before thine eyes. Now consider this, ye that forget God, lest I tear you in pieces, and there be none to deliver. Whoso offereth praise glorifieth me, and to him that ordereth his conversation aright will I show the salvation of God.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Kakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders, GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations. Hopefully, they got there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds. In the name of Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scripture through faith in Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. All right. Now, what I want to get into tonight, all right, is a World War III update. And Uncle E, all right, our uncle catching hell over there, man. All right, no small hats, okay, American troops, okay, as we We know they have a 6-day ceasefire. For you all that don't know, there's a six-day ceasefire. They're supposed to be exchange of hostages. You know, Palestinian prisoners are supposed to be getting released in exchange for Israeli prisoners, which we know, all right, that there's a lot of propaganda at play. We know there's a lot of acting involved, but then there's some there what we're seeing. Okay, the Ishmaelites, all right, these Arabs, all right, these Elamites, okay, they have a strategy over there. All right, and we're gonna go into it. I found a video. I found a pretty good channel. There's a guy Scott Ritter. He's pretty solid with his info. Straight to the point, and he gives the news that the Western media is not reporting. All right, because with Western media, all right, all you're going to get is what they want you to hear. All right, you're not going to get the facts. Okay, you're going to get 99% propaganda. Okay, but see what these alternative sites, they're giving you the facts, what's really happening, man. Okay, and we're gonna go into those things, just get some understanding of what's going on and what we stand with this war. All right, because you don't hear much about it in Western media anymore. Esau had it on repeat, but now you don't hear much about it anymore. So we're gonna go into it. All right, so I want to get started off here in Jeremiah, then we'll go into the video. Okay. This is the book of Jeremiah. All right. Yep. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49 and 13. It says, "For I have sworn by myself, says the Lord Yahweh, by Shem Yahushai, that Basra, who is speaking of America, shall be a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the city thereof shall be a perpetual waste." Now, all throughout the scriptures, the Lord uses this format of prophesying when he would, all right, pronounce the end, okay, and then he'll take it back to the build up, all right, for America being destroyed, because Jeremiah 49 and 13 is speaking of America being destroyed, okay, and the Lord swore by himself that he would do it, all right, but when you read down, it talks about the build up to Jeremiah 49 and 13. All right, and this is what we're witnessing. All right, when we're witnessing these skirmishes and these conflicts break out, okay, especially over there in that region of the Middle East, okay, we're witnessing the buildup, okay, to the Lord fulfilling, all right, his promise of destroying Babylon, man, okay, which is America. Okay, verse 14, I have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh by Shema Shai. Remember, a rumor is a circulating story. Okay, and an ambassador sent unto the heathen, saying, "Gather ye together and come against her, and rise up to the battle." Okay, and rise up to the battle. And see, this is what we're seeing amongst these nations. All right, is they're rising up to the battle against her. The fact, that you see these Arabs, okay, able to go back and forth, all right, with these Israeli troops and these American troops, all right, there's a spirit in them to rise up against her in battle. Okay, we're going to go into it. Okay, because we know, like those Israelis, yeah, they have a strong military, but guess what? Prophecy is against them. Okay, America has a strong military, but guess what? Prophecy is against them, man. And those Arabs have a spirit of no fear when it comes, all right, to these devils in the West, man. Okay, and we're going to go into what they're doing over there, man. Verse 15 said, "For lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among the men." Okay, and this is what's happening on the global stage. Okay, and the earth, is fed up, all right, with the rulership of Esau, Edom. Okay, you have these simpletons, okay, in America, they really don't know what's going on. All right, they just want to get back, okay, to their convenience. Okay, they want to get back to their Christmas and Easter and their convenience, and you know that's all they concerned about. But you have a spirit that's rising up against, okay, this devil in the latter days, man. As the scripture said will happen. Now you go here in the Hebrew, which is Quatan, a word for small, which is young, small, insignificant, unimportant. Okay, young, small, insignificant, or unimportant. Okay, and this is what is happening. Okay, to Esau and the earth. Okay, and these other nations are now looking at him as insignificant and unimportant. Okay, and they dealing with this man. Like I say, we're gonna get into it. All right, but they dealing with this devil over there, man. All right, so I'm gonna leave it there. We'll come back to the Jeremiah. Well, I want to get straight into it. Okay, and like we know, there's things that are staged. Okay, but then there's things that the Lord is allowing to happen. The Lord is raising up the spirit of these heathens, man. Okay, so we know the initial, incident October 7th. We know that those things, were staged, set up. It was allowed to happen. Okay, but what it spiraled into was a conflict, and it showcased that hey, them Arabs, okay, they got a strategy for this devil, man. Okay, and eat catching hell. All right, so let me cue this up. All right, so let me cue this up. All right, and as we're gonna do commentary as we go. Brothers, post precepts as you see fit. All right, but he's gonna go into what's going on over there, man, and how because like I say with Hamas, yeah, the um, of course, the leadership of Hamas is juiced in, with the Israeli government, no doubt. Okay, for sure. And they set that whole thing up with October 7th. All right, but we gotta remember there's 40,000 Hamas soldiers. Okay, and you gotta think them Israelis been terrorizing those people. You gotta think those soldiers. They seen what happened to their parents, grandparents. They heard the stories about their great grandparents. Like there's some hatred built up over there, man. Okay, so everybody ain't in on the take. Okay, there's a lot of actual resistant intention over there in that region, man. Okay, and the Lord, he's a just power, man. He's gonna allow, all right, hey, these particular nations to get their lick back, man. Okay, ultimately, hey, when Yahweh Shah comes, we get the biggest lick on all these nations, man. Okay, just to put that out there, but we're gonna let this play, and we'll commentate, all right, and try to break it down as he speak, just to get us all up to speed of what's going on. All right.
Well, I think first of all, to talk about the Houthi and talk about what's going on in Syria and Iraq, it's more like what they call asymmetrical warfare, where these lesser powers are able to apply pressure and get bigger bang for the buck by disrupting not just the military aspect but the political aspect. War is politics, extension of politics by other means. And so, the Houthi seizing ships, it's not the end of the world, but it creates political pressure. First of all, what's it do to insurance rates? We don't know. But that's problematic right there. And from a propaganda standpoint, it's not a good look to have the Houthi take over these ships. And then how do you have to stop it? You have to deploy naval forces into the region, which are now going to be dedicated to stopping a handful of Houthi. So you're spending billions of dollars to stop $1 million operation. That economically doesn't pay off in the long run as well. It's the same thing with the United States. In Iraq and Syria, these militias are firing these weapons that cost thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. What is our response? It's to sortie aircraft that are running us millions of dollars per flight hour to launch a strike, and we're losing equipment on the ground that costs millions of dollars. From a cost perspective, it's game set match for the insurgency, because.
All right. So just to break down what he's saying, all right, you have, okay, just to set the stage. Remember, Iran is the big dog over there amongst those middle in the Middle East. Okay, the region, what they call the Middle East. All right, amongst all these, these Islamic freedom fighters. Okay, these Zionist resistant groups, that we hear about in their region. All right, they all under the order of Iran. Okay, Iran is big dog over there. So you have the Houthi rebels in Yemen. All right, you have the resistant groups in Syria and in Iraq. All right, and you have Hezbollah, okay, to the north. All right, and what we're seeing is Iran has pretty much given, all those groups the green light, all right, to attack, okay, Israeli and American assets in their region. Okay, so what's happening? You have these proxy militaries of Iran, these proxy militant groups of Iran. They're destroying $1 million, tanks. Okay, with thousands, tens of thousands. Just say they're destroying $1 million equipment with $1,000 all right rockets. Okay, not the rockets cost 8,000, but they cost thousands. Okay, so they're destroying $1 million worth of equipment. Okay, with $1,000 worth of rockets. And then when that's happening, what does America and the Israelis do? They do airstrikes. Okay, and those airstrikes cost millions of dollars per hour. Okay, so what's happening? All right, because war is chess, not checkers. All right, so what's happening? Just with these proxies, all right, they're pretty much costing America and these Israelis a lot of money to respond to these militant attacks, man. Okay, so America is exhausting a lot of resources. Okay, them Israelis, they're exhausting a lot of resources. When you destroy a tank, when you take a tank out of operation, it don't take you don't build a tank in a week. Okay, so if you're losing multiple tanks, okay, you're losing multiple tanks in a week. All right, you're being put back months and years. Okay, and he's going to get into it more, but just to kind of break down what's happening, man. Hey, they got a plan for the devil, man. Catching hell. Okay, so he's gonna keep getting into it. All right.
We haven't dented them. We blew up a couple warehouses in a place where we always are blowing up warehouses. Do we really think the Iranians are that stupid? Hey, where are we going to take the stuff we're transiting to Lebanon? Why don't we put it in that warehouse they just blew up last month? That's a good idea. No, because we just blew it up again this month. So I think you're 100% right. The U.S. military is saying we need to bring this asymmetrical conflict to an end because it's not to our advantage. Now we go to the Israelis. Yeah, like I said, let's put politics aside and let's just talk about a pure operation, urban warfare. But it's not just urban warfare. If you study, for instance, the Battle of Iwo Jima, the Marines going across, the Japanese had built, I think, 15 kilometers worth of tunnels underneath Iwo Jima, which is barren ground on the top, the furthest thing from urban warfare you want. And from those tunnels, they were able to resist the Marines for months. Some of the Japanese hid out for years. The final organized resistance on Iwo Jima didn't end until 1948, when the last Japanese came out of the tunnels and said, "Okay, we're done." But the Marines had a hell of a time fighting on Suribachi and then fighting their way across because the Japanese just kept popping up out of tunnels and picking off Marines here or there and then dropping back down. But now we complicate it by putting a city on top of it and then blowing that city up into rubble. I've written about the experience of the Germans in Stalingrad, where they brought in their elite sapper units, the pioneer units, to engage in this kind of warfare against the Russians, who just simply dug into the rubble. And they couldn't break their back in the October, the barricades factory, and through else. They bled to death because the Russians just were able to take advantage of this new reality where there's no maneuver room. It's just brutal fighting. And I don't care how well trained you are. A bullet kills you just like everybody else. The same thing, Monte Cassino, this abbey that was blown up by American bombers in Italy. The British, the Poles, the Indians, the Americans, the New Zealanders all went up and tried to dig out the 6th Parachute Division from the rubble. We couldn't, because they're dug in there. They had the advantage. Now we take an enemy who's fighting from rubble, because understand what that means. That means that tanks can't maneuver effectively in the streets. It means that infantry now is going to get separated from the tanks. The tanks, as they move down, instead of the infantry bounding forward, covering for them, the tanks come pulling ahead, and suddenly a Hamas guy pops up, hits them with the RPG, bam, tank is down. Maybe not destroyed, but immobilized in the middle of a city. That crew has to get out. So now the crew's coming out. They get hit by, again, Hamas guys with machine guns stopping up, or rifles firing in. The infantry's trying to maneuver, but the rubble's slowing them down. And as they maneuver forward, focus on this, pop, 2 guys come up from behind, throwing some grenades, spray them down, then disappear again. This is what's going on right now.
So let's break down, what he says happening. Now, he's going to get into it. So with Hamas, you have to understand they're homegrown. Okay, those people have been in their region, all right, for centuries. Okay, before those small hats came in and colonized. Okay, and what we see happening, all right, is they already knew those Israelis was going to blow up the buildings. Okay, they already knew that. So what happened? You got a bunch of rubble, okay? And what they did, they limited, all right, because for them to blow up the buildings before they did a ground, it would have been better for them to do a ground invasion before they blew the buildings up, because they would have gave the tanks more maneuverability, okay? But the Israelis, like I said, they do the same thing every time. They airstrike you to death, okay? So if you keep doing the same thing, eventually people are going to catch on and strategize. All right. So the Israelis, they done blew up. All right. They done destroyed a lot of infrastructure and turned it to rubble. Well, now they having a hard time maneuvering those tanks. Okay. And those tanks to be able to cover the ground troops, the infantry. Okay. So what's happening? Hamas has so many tunnels dug on the ground, all right, that you can bomb the surface all you want. Okay, it doesn't affect their underground network of tunnels that they have. So when those tanks come through there and those men, okay, you have these Hamas soldiers able to pop up, blow up a tank, will demobilize a tank. Because even if they don't blow it up, because remember they're not using, high power equipment. Okay, but they're effective. So even if they can demobilize a tank where the crew has to get out that tank, guess what? Them Israeli troops don't know the area like those Hamas soldiers do, man. Okay, so when they hop out, you have Hamas soldiers popping up, all right, throwing grenades, all right, spraying them down, okay, and then going back into them tunnels. Okay, so it's like a hit and go. All right, and this is what's happening over there, man. Okay, they didn't cause that ceasefire for nothing. He's gonna get into these things, man. All right, Esau catching hell. He's spending a lot of money, okay, and he's not making any progress, okay, as far as his military campaign. Yeah, he blew up a lot of buildings, okay, but as far as him, all right, you know, having being effective militarily, okay, nah, he's not. It's not happening, man. All right, so I'm gonna let it play some more. All right.
Hamas has lured Israel into a battlefield that Hamas designed. Hamas knew that Israel was going to drop these buildings. They knew it because that's what Israel does. And they built this tunnel network that was designed to withstand this bombardment that deeper than the bombs can penetrate, going everywhere with backup systems, redundancies, etc. Israel says they killed 1,000. I bet you they don't have 1,000 bodies. I have been in the business of doing battle damage assessment, and sounds to me like it's a little bit of guesswork that they might have a couple hundred bodies of people that are fighters. But are these really Hamas fighters? Because one of the things that we now know. Take a look at what happened on October 7th. Hamas went out there and carried out the initial breaching operations and the directed military operations. But behind Hamas came a wave of militias that and just ordinary folk who came out and did their thing, took hostages too. Hamas said we need a ceasefire before the ceasefire happened because we have to go out and find out who took hostages so we can bring them all together so we can get them all released. Because there's guys out there freelancing. So we don't know that the people being killed are actually Hamas fighters. And there's a difference, qualitative difference too. So the bottom line is this: the Israeli newspapers recently published a story about some of these reserve battalions that had to be pulled out of Gaza because they refused to
Factor is by far the best food subscription service I have ever tried. And I know what you're thinking.
fight because they were going in there and they said, this is newspapers recently published a story about some of these reserve battalions that had to be pulled out of Gaza because they refused to fight because they were going in there and they said, this is suicide. We don't know what's going on. We're advancing blindly. We're getting taken apart. We're losing our vehicles. We're losing our officers. We're losing our men. We don't want to do this. So they had to pull the unit out and redeploy it. And this isn't a singular event.
You hear that? Okay, so you have, all right, Israeli soldiers, okay, that said, look, we not going in there, man. They said, look, we going in there blindly, we getting their ass tore out the frame, they popping up, and you gotta think, these Israeli soldiers, these are westernized Europeans, man. Okay, they not built like that. They not like the spirit that's on them Arabs on on these Islamic nation. These Israeli military age men, they not built like that, man. Okay, these are westernized Europeans, man. They not built for this grind. All right, that this devil done kicked off over there, man. Okay, Esau think that he just gonna blow, bomb people to hell and back. Nah, man, them folks got a strategy for your ass, man. Okay, you gotta come in them trenches, man. As the scriptures say, they have foreborn to fight. Okay, and we're just seeing a glimpse of that. If a brother can post that, I think that's in Jeremiah. Okay, they remain in them holes. Let's see what he said again. All right, and we know that it's going to happen on a much larger scale when when the all-out war breaks out. But we're seeing a glimpse of it, man. Okay, they're like, nah, man. So you got whole battalions, falling back. Like, nah, we ain't, we can't deal. Let's go back. Let me see.
Don't know what's going on. We're advancing blindly. We're newspapers recently published a story about some of these reserve battalions that had to be pulled out of Gaza because they refused to fight, because they were going in there and they said, this is suicide. We don't know what's going on. We're advancing blindly. We're getting taken apart. We're losing our vehicles. We're losing our officers. We're losing our men. We don't want to do this. So they had to pull the unit out and redeploy it. And this isn't a singular event. Yes, the regular forces, the Givati, the Golani, they're probably not going to have that same level of revolt, the paratroopers, but they're taking casualties. If you take a look at the casualty lists, these are Givati guys, supposed to be the premier urban warfare guys for the Israelis. They're taking casualties. Golani, the best infantry, they're taking casualties. The paratroopers, they're taking casualties. The combat engineers, bringing up memories of the Germans in Stalingrad, they're taking casualties. Why? Because they're not in control of the battlefield. And that's the reality. Ask yourselves the following. Benjamin Netanyahu said, under no circumstances will there be a ceasefire. Remember that, Garland? Under no circumstances.
Yeah. All right, the water, brother. All right. Yeah, man. So he's going into these Israeli special forces, and he's speaking about how they're taking losses, man. And this is their special forces. You see, this is Israeli. This is these Israelis' actual army that's taking these losses. Remember, Iran ain't lift a finger. You see, you gotta understand, Iran ain't lift a finger. Okay, but look how much damage they're doing, how effective they are against these Western superpowers, man. Okay, this is Jeremiah 51:30 says, "The mighty men of Babylon, all right, which is America, have forborne to fight." Now we know these are the Israelis, all right, which this Israeli military force is an extension of the American military force. That's why America is always first to its aid, But to qualify that precept, this is speaking of America, which is like I say, we're seeing a prelude of this, man. Them Israelis, they bagging out, and he's gonna go into this ceasefire. It ain't. They try to make it seem that all right, we tired of whooping y'all ass, so we gonna chill. Let's swap some hostages. Nah, man. All right, nigga called the timeout. Okay, that's what happened. All right, Unc called the timeout. It was getting ridiculous out there. Okay, he got trying to regroup. It said, "The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might have failed. They became as women. They have burnt." It said, "They have burnt their dwelling places." All right, her bars are broken. That's ultimately when America is going to be completely destroyed. All right, but these American soldiers everywhere, all right, that these American soldiers are, man. All right, the Lord gonna put the spirit on these other nations, man. All right, to have them to be like women. Okay, now this ain't the fulfillment of their scripture. Okay, well, it's a prelude. All right, but it's nowhere near the fulfillment of this scripture. Okay, so yeah, let's play some more.
The Germans in Stalingrad, they're taking casualties. Why? Because they're not in control of the battlefield. And that's the reality. Ask yourselves the following. Benjamin Netanyahu said, under no circumstances will there be a ceasefire. Remember that, Garland? Under no circumstances will there be a ceasefire. We're not going to give Hamas a ceasefire. We're going to destroy Hamas. This is about going in there, ripping them apart. We're going to go in there. We're going to roll over them. It's Patton, whatever. And prisoner exchange. There will be no prisoner exchange. We will not do this. We're going to go. I guess we're in day 6 of the ceasefire with the prisoner exchange taking place. Why? Because Israel got beat. Israel got beat.
I don't know if you know it. Israel's also apparently said that or I read something that said for every 10 hostages, they'll give another day of in other words, give us 10, and you got a couple hundred hostages. How many? They don't know, but give us 10 hostages, we'll give another day. It seems like they are starting to get more amenable to additional time.
Yeah, I mean, because the reality is, they set an impossible task. Israel fell into the same political trap that they fell with Hezbollah in 2006. If you remember, 2006 was about destroying Hezbollah. We're going to destroy Hezbollah as an organization. Well, they didn't. Hezbollah automatically wins the war by surviving. But Hezbollah didn't just survive, they thrived. They embarrassed the Israeli Defense Force. That's taking place today. Hamas is thriving politically around the world. There's more people talking about Hamas, talking about Palestinian statehood than ever before. Even if the pro-Palestinian demonstrations in the street aren't pro-Hamas demonstrations, they are. They just don't realize it. Why? Do you think if you say you're pro-Palestinian, that means that you support a Palestinian state? I would imagine. What was Mahmoud Abbas, the president of the Palestinian Authority, openly advocating for a Palestinian state on October 6th and prior to that? Nope. Was he doing anything for the Palestinian people? Nope, not at all. He was arresting Palestinians on behalf of Israel. His job was to guarantee Israel's security. He's doing that today. In the West Bank, the Israelis are slaughtering Palestinians. What is Mahmoud Abbas doing? Arresting Palestinian ringleaders and turning them over to the Israelis. So if there was an election today amongst the Palestinians, including the 2 million that have suffered so egregiously in Gaza, Hamas would win hands down. They would win the legislator. They would win the presidency because they're the only entity fighting for the Palestinian people. The only one, and the Palestinian people know it. This means that you cannot erase Hamas because it's an idea. It's an ideology. Israel says that they're going to eradicate them, but how can you? If every Palestinian now believes in Hamas and believes that Hamas is the entity that's best articulating for the future of the Palestinian people, how do you erase that? You can't. You have to militarily defeat them, but you're not. Hamas has fought the Israeli Defense Force to a standstill. Now, is the Israeli Defense Force capable of continuing the operation? Absolutely. But they're going to die a death of 1,000 cuts because they can't get underground. And here's the other thing. Hamas was ready to fight a 90-day conflict underground, 80 to 90 days. Israel just gave them a 6-day replenishment. So they reset that clock, baby. So, in some ways, I'm sympathetic to the Israelis in the original thing because I'm one of these guys that says when you start putting the military pressure on, don't stop until it's over.
Right.
Don't stop until it's over. So if I have to bleed through Hamas's 80-day supply, then I'm fighting an 81-day war. And boss, you got to be ready for all that. Your job is to give me the political backing. I'm going in for 81 days, and I'm going to wear these son of a guns down until they run out of everything. And then as they come out of the tube, I'm going to shoot them all. That's how we win this war. Are we going to lose a lot of guys? Yes. Is it going to be bloody? Yep. But when it's done, your political objective of destroying Hamas militarily will be met. I will kill every single one of them. But I need 81 days. Well, Israel couldn't even last, 40 days? And they had to stop. So it's over. I mean, there may be more fighting ahead, but Israel will not win this war. And Benjamin Netanyahu's political fortunes are history.
So just want to, sum up what he was saying. So Hamas, all right, they pretty much, had enough supplies, to go 81 days, and fight that type of war that they was fighting. Okay. But the Israelis, they couldn't even hold up, barely half that time. So every day that there's a ceasefire, they're replenishing, resources. They're getting more weaponry, they're getting more food. So now, all right, if they try to go back, let's say they try to crank this thing back up, in 10 days. Well, it's going to be so much weaponry and resources brought in those 10 days. Okay, they're going to be so replenished, within those 10 days. All right, they might can go 3 months now. They might can go half a year now. Okay, so well, we know this ceasefire. I'm interested. I'm very interested to see if these devils gonna crank this thing back up, man. And that's gonna tell you what really happened. If these devils don't crank this thing back up, they was defeated, man. Okay, and you'll never hear that on your mainstream media, man. They gonna make it seem like they took it easy on them, and they still gonna try to parade themselves as some righteous hero. Nah, man, they was out. They was goddamn these proxies. Okay, these Islamic proxies told some ass up over there, man. That's what's happening. Okay, all these big fancy rockets and airplanes and shit. Yeah, it's cute. Okay, but when you get down in the trenches, they don't want to see them guys, man. Okay, and remember, this is just the proxies, man. And now he's finna go into Hezbollah. Remember, this is just Hamas. Like I said, like we said, of course, you understand. Of course, October 7th, okay, was a setup. Okay, because in the mind of Esau Edom, we finna run through Hamas. So we just need, this group of sellouts that we got to pull this off so we can be justified in waging war. But we finna run through these guys. Those other, those other, yeah, the Israeli started. Okay, we noticed the Israeli, okay, intelligence, all right, started Hamas. Okay, but you gotta think, look at the constant, okay, oppression that those people go through. You don't think that as the numbers grew, that there's a sincere, all right, an actual insurgent, okay, over there, man. Okay, them people not playing. That ultimately it's the Lord putting this, because the scriptures say, hey, that this man, that his wisdom will work against him. So it makes sense for him to start something that he can't contain. Okay, his own wisdom is working against him. He started this for this reason, but the Lord got it for this reason, man. Okay, so this is what we're seeing play out. All right, so now he's finna go into Hezbollah and what Hezbollah been doing over there in their region, man.
The other thing is this: there's a broad strategy. The broad strategy. It would be one thing if you were fighting a bunch of guys in an area, the size of New York City or whatever, Gaza. You've got the Iranians very early. Everyone was like, yeah, they want to attack Iran. And I thought to myself, I don't think they want to attack Iran. There may be a few people, but I don't think the military is saying, hey, great idea, let's go attack Iran. I don't think that's going on. And by the way, I've been reporting lately. Iran's about to get a bunch of those high-tech helicopters and Su-35s from Russia. But Hezbollah seems that they're wise enough to know to take their toes up to the line. People are like, well, Hezbollah is not going to get involved. I've been following Hezbollah's fighting the crap out of Israel on the northern border. They're bombing, they're missiles, but it seems like they know just how far to go to say we're going to engage, but we're not going to fully engage to the point where our adversaries can say, okay, we're full at war. So they're engaging enough to really aggravate the crap. And it seems to me what they're doing is hitting radar stations, they're hitting intelligence stations, they're hitting command and control stations. So they're aggravating Israel enough to bug them. And as I said, Iran has come out and said, look, we're not going to get involved. We don't want a broader war. However, we reserve the right. Basically, here's how I interpret it. We're going to give weapons to all of our allies. We're going to be involved in the way that you were involved in Ukraine. We're going to give people weapons. We're going to give people food. We're going to give people intelligence.
You okay?
I got to build a whole new payments integration. Months of my life just flashed.
But we're not going to physically get involved. And it appears that that's enough for the U.S. to say, well, we don't want to go into because they certainly a broader war and you're screwed. It seems to me that there is a huge support system strategically behind this the fighters in Gaza, that's engaging the U.S. and Israel in a way to spread them out to hit them on the. Anyway, your thoughts on all of that?
Well, I think we talked when Hassan Nasrallah gave his speech on October 9th, I think it was. I think it's been that long ago, his first reaction. And I said that he was a master of escalation management, that basically he was talking about how this is a fight between Hamas and Israel, but that, Hezbollah will support Hamas, but they don't want to have, if Hezbollah goes into full-scale war with Israel, this becomes something other than a Hamas-Israeli fight, which Hamas is winning, by the way. Why do you want to, if one of the goals of Hamas is to have the world talking about a Palestinian state, if you introduce a larger conflict, the world will lose attention and focus on the larger conflict. So Hezbollah doesn't want to do that. They don't want Iran, and Iran doesn't want to come in. Iran did give the green light to the militias in Iraq and in Syria to carry out these attacks. But as you said, ceasefire comes, the attacks magically stop. Amazing that way. The Houthi, on the other hand, are just the wild frat boys. They were just like a party, fire missiles and take ships, and we're just going to keep rocking and rolling all night long, and we don't care what the cops say. But but they're more of a distraction than an actual major player. The big player right here is Hezbollah, as you rightly pointed out. Anybody that says Hezbollah didn't get involved, Hezbollah lost almost 70 guys, and Hezbollah fighters are well-trained fire. They lost almost 70 guys in this fight. They took out a bunch of Israelis. The Israelis have been a little mum on the casualties. They still don't want to admit how many they've lost up north. They took out a bunch of Merkava 4 tanks, about a half a battalion's worth of Merkava 4 tanks. They've taken out billions of dollars of infrastructure, these cameras, these radars, these intelligence collection systems. The Israelis had built this perfect technological array that was monitoring southern Lebanon, so they could get perfect intelligence back in their battlefield with their little computer screens and all that stuff. And how'd you like to be sitting in the Israeli command center and bink, 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 the screen just goes blank as Hezbollah takes out every single one of your sensors, and now you're flying blind. That's what Hezbollah did. And Hezbollah put enough pressure on Israel that they had to evacuate 70,000 people from the northern settlements. And now remember, these are settlements that participate in the economy. So there's jobs, there's things that happen that aren't happening now. They've been evacuated. They had to go somewhere else. That's expensive. Plus, now they had to divert about a third of Israel's forces up to that northern border that could otherwise have been used down in Gaza, divert them up north. Air power has to be diverted. Naval power has to be diverted. Hezbollah is a major player in this conflict. It is a theater of operations that when this history is written, you'll see how important it was for Hamas. From an operational and political standpoint, the pressure, the potential of Hezbollah, of this thing to explode, has put constraints on the Israelis, and is one of the reasons why the Israeli government finally agreed to a ceasefire, because they were getting beat up in the north, and they had no solution to it, because the only solution was to escalate, and escalation would have been a nightmare. And so I think as much as Hamas was putting pressure on them on the ground in Gaza, it was the northern battle and the potential of that thing getting out of control that eventually had the Israelis going, we got to put a pause on this thing right now, because we've lost control of the battle. And that's what happened to the Israelis. They lost control of the battle. Their troops in Gaza stopped maneuvering. The first couple of days they were sitting there taking the beach and doing this and maneuvering there. And all of a sudden we saw they just stopped. Why? Because they couldn't go any further. Hamas had fought them to a standstill. And, they didn't have that initiative anymore. And up north, the Israeli army was saying, we can't even reoccupy these positions. We're almost at the point where we have to abandon the north. And the Israelis are going, we're not in control of the battlefield anymore. We're not the ones defining and shaping the operations. Hamas is controlling, Hezbollah is controlling politically, the Arab world is controlling, Turkey is getting involved. So they had to hit the big pause button. And one of the problems is, if they go forward, what's their plan? Because it's not like they're operating from a position of strength. And I tell you right now, as much as the battalions fear going back to war against Hamas, because that's going to be a bloody, bloody battle. They damn sure don't want to do anything with Hezbollah right now. They're just like, make it stop, make it go away. This is a problem we're incapable of dealing with right now. And if they start up with Hamas, Hezbollah is going to kick it into high gear. That is. And from the American perspective, we know that the militias in Syria and Iraq are going to start pounding our bases, and the frat boys down in Houthi land are still chugging beer and chewing cotton and firing missiles, and they'll just keep doing that all day long.
You're not going to hear that on CNN or Fox. Okay? You're not going to hear that on CNN and Fox, man. All right? Esau, his ass tapped out over there, man. Okay? And he going to sell you some story on CNN and Fox. I might just start watching it just to see, what they say on it. All right? But he's not going to tell you that part of the story, man. Okay? They was over there getting their ass towed up. All right? And he told you, he said, look, they was catching hell with Hamas. They don't want to see no part of Hezbollah. And if they don't want to see Hezbollah, what the fuck they going to do with Iran, man? You see? And we ain't even made it to Russia and China. Okay? Esau through. America is done. The Israelis, they done. Okay? They did this ceasefire. And like I said, I'm interested to see if they kick this thing back off, man. Okay? Yeah, man. This how it's going down over there. All right? And I got that video, if you brothers want to see. Now, this is a video from 2006. Okay, you can watch it. And Hezbollah got on their ass in 2006. This 17 years later. So what you think them folks got now? Okay? That was in 2006, man. All right? I don't give a damn what them Israelis got, man. I'm not gonna. Them niggas, they just got equipment, man. Okay? Niggas ain't got no armor. They got equipment, man. Okay? Trash. And I do mean trash. Okay? They went over there, all right, played with them folk like it was sweet, all right, and they had to call it time out, man. Okay, Hezbollah destroying billions of dollars worth of military, infrastructure in the north. 70,000 of those Israelis had to evacuate because of Hezbollah, man. Okay, no one told you that part of the story. All right. They don't want to see them folks over there, man. Let's get a couple of precepts, man. All right. So let's go back to Jeremiah. All right, the devil, you're done. Okay, and it's only gonna get worse. All right, and I want to see if he bad like that to crank that operation back up. He gonna have to do something impulsive. All right, because the way he going, that ain't gonna get it, man. Jeremiah 49:15, for lo, I will make thee small among the heathen. So you got to think how amped up, all right, the Islamic world is over there, man. The Muslim world, you got to think. And as Iran, they lost a single soldier. Okay, Iran, they shot a single one of his missiles, man. Okay, and made them folks pack up camp. Hey, you see? And it says thy terribleness has deceived thee. Yeah, he's used to being on the offensive and just having his way. Okay, so he's deceived. It says, in the pride of thine heart, O thou that dwellest in the cleft of the rock, that holdest the height of the hill, though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, said the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shai. And it's beginning with World War III. All right, and it's going to be fulfilled at the return of Yahweh Shai, who's really going to bring this devil down, man. Okay, who's going to finish this devil off? All right, But the scriptures reign supreme, man. Let's get this in Isaiah 33. Okay, we'll end it here. All right. This is Isaiah 33 and 1. It says, woe to thee that spoilest, and thou was not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they deal not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled, and when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. All right. And this is what we're seeing happen, man. Okay, these nations are starting to get the ups. They got a strategy for this devil. Okay, it ain't gonna be sweet this go round because it's time for this devil to be removed by the power. All right. See, one thing about prophecy, when his ass out of there, okay, nigga called a timeout. You see, you got that boy Pumpkinhead over there, man. All right, but one thing about it, when prophecy is with you, everything is in your favor. But when prophecy is against you, you're done. Okay, and this is what we're witnessing. This devil is done. Prophecy is fully working against this man. All right, and he's finna take the biggest L, all right, the earth has ever seen. Okay, so yeah, just wanted to put that out there, man. You know, like I said, that video is a good video to watch. About 14 minutes. All right, and you see how them devils got their ass handed to them in 2006, man. So 17 years later, what you think the play gonna be, man? Okay, them folks don't care nothing about America pulling up in them warships. They don't care. They got something for that too. Okay, yeah, you just wait till this thing escalates. You know, America pull up in their warships and think they're gonna intimidate, and folks just supposed to back down because they pulled up. Nah, man. All right, them folks got something for that for that too, man. Okay, and we're gonna see this thing play out, man. So Lord will, you know, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again, and give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem, Shah by Hashem Kakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great example to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom.